Hey guys, Tisha here, and we're back for another Sister Wives Season 2 rewatch. This time is Season 2, Episode 10, Gambling on the Future. You guys, we've been talking about this for the past 3 episodes, and the time has come for us to watch the Browns move to Vegas. So we begin this episode with the very ominous music playing, and we see flashbacks of how on April 2nd, 2010, Cody was seen filming for the first time in his vehicle, talking about how he's married to 3 different wives. We were also introduced to his beautiful 3 wives and Robin. Cut to present day, where we are reminded that the city of Lehigh has finished their investigation and they've turned over their findings to the district attorney. Before finding out the results and seeing exactly what the district attorney is going to do, they're going to move to Nevada. The move is what I thought was a week away, because on the previous episode, we were told it's a week away and they were going to tell the children. However, we find out a little bit further down that it's actually less time than even that. Cody is approaching this all wrong. He's gathered all the kids to talk, to let the little kids know that they're leaving. I wish he gave them a little bit more time to process things, but he decided to tell the kids this way, in this manner, fumbling all over his words. So he begins by asking several questions. Who likes being in the family? Do you guys feel special in this family? Don't you all want to keep this family together? You know, stuff like that. He then lets them know nothing can break this family apart, but we're moving to Vegas. Way to rip off the Band-Aid, Cody. Immediately when the camera is looking around at some of the kids, and Peyton happens to be sitting right next to Cody when he says it, you can tell that some of them are excited, some of them aren't so sure, and some of them are hurt. Gwen, at her young age, says, "Are you crazy? I like this home." Peyton says he's mad and he likes this home. Cody then talks about how the home is magical, but one of the reasons why it's magical is because of them, and that they're moving and they're hoping that where they're moving to is going to be magical too. They can create new magic there. I believe it was Isabel who then asked, "When are we going to move?" And that is when we learn that it is not 7 days away, but it is 3 days away. What part of this was fair to the children? You wait until 3 days before they are leaving to let them know that you all are going to be moving, that they will no longer be at their house, they were no longer going to be attending their schools, and you're moving to another state that is approximately 6 hours away. You tell the kids they have this weekend to pack, that you guys are going to be loading everything up. And as he's saying this, Mary's child begins to cry. Now, as I'm saying Mary's child, it's reminding me, a suggestion was made to me on one of my posts that I continue to say they, their, things of that nature, but I also call Mary's child by their name. So you will hear me go in between saying Leon, which is the name that Mary's child now goes by, and you will also hear me say Mary's child. I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to say anything that is me using incorrect pronouns. If I misspeak, please charge it to my head and not my heart. As you all have seen, if you've watched my reviews before, I stumble over my words sometimes. I don't know what in the hey-ho I wrote in my notes, so you'll see me pause sometimes as far as that's concerned. But I mean no harm when using pronouns. I want to emphasize that. Okay, back to what I was saying. As Logan is crying, Cody talks about how he cannot have his children live in fear. He doesn't want that for his children. We see Garrison and Gabe, Peyton, Isabel's hugging Leon, Mary's holding on to them, Christine's holding on to Isabel. Like, there's a whole bunch of tears being shed, and a lot of the kids are crying. He then adds the whole part about the 3-day thing and that they're not allowed to tell anyone. I'm going to say it the way I felt it while I was watching it. What the hell is wrong with Cody's leadership? The emotional toll that you just put those children through in the time that you let them know that they were going to be leaving, that they only had 3 days and that they can't tell anyone, and then you kind of expect them to suck it up and get to packing, is insane to me. He speaks of all the emotions and the tears that he's seeing, and it lets them know that he has to check in on his older kids again, and he's going to try hard to not be defensive. Why is this something that he even has to try to do? These are his children who he's supposed to love and care about. In this situation, is there really a place for him to be defensive when all that the children are doing is they're expressing their emotion in regards to their father and their mother's uprooting what they've known for what I'm thinking is 6 years? Maddie, out of concern for her sibling, asks, where is Leon going to be? Leon's been in private school and we've all been in public school. What's going to happen to Leon? The older siblings, like Aspen, stick up for Leon, saying there's nowhere for Leon to go to school where Leon will feel comfortable. Leon likes church school. Cody's response is, Leon will be okay going to school with all their siblings. So forget the fact that the kids are real concerned. Forget the fact that they're bawling and they're crying. And it's very obvious that Leon is very distraught. Cody is very quick to make it be known, like, you guys can say all that stuff, but at the end of the day, Leon is going wherever y'all are going. Leon is crying a lot, as I stated, while being embraced by Mary. And Mary states, let's hear what Leon has to say. But before she says that, Leon says, you know, in response to everything that in response to everything that their siblings are saying, don't you think that I thought of this? Aspen then says again that Leon likes to be there because of all the religion and stuff. And Cody's response is, where we go one, we go all. This is kind of bothersome to me, if I'm being honest. I hate the word triggered because we all say triggered when we're upset or something makes us angry. So I'm going to say that it's bothersome to me. And I may be taking it a little bit more personally than I should be, because I remember when my mother had to go away and how I was told where I was going to go because my father was out on deployment and I couldn't go on deployment. I was told where I was going to go rather than asked. So I was told, okay, both of your parents are gone. you're going to be staying here. No one ever really considered what I wanted. It was what was best for them. And I say that because I could have stayed in the state that I was in, and one of my friend's family was willing to take me in. They were willing to allow me to stay with them for the year. That way I didn't have to be uprooted. They were going to take me to school, all of those things. And I was told no. Like, even though my mother was very, very good friends with them, the answer was no. So I just felt like really bad for Leon in that moment when I saw them crying, because I'm like, okay, I can relate to this because I know how that felt. And I was in middle school when that happened. No, I was going to the 9th grade, so the end of my 8th grade year. So yeah, I can relate to it. No child wants to hear blatantly that their opinions and their feelings don't count. Cody says, when you're 18 and you graduate, you can go wherever you want to go. As I said earlier, Mary provides Leon with the opportunity to say where they like to go and what they're thinking. Leon says, I just want to finish out the school year. Provides a list of reasons. Among the reasons of staying, a school dance that's in a couple of weeks is listed, friends, school, church, etc. Cody's response is that keeping to the family together trumps all of what Leon is saying. He understands Leon's need for Leon's spiritual walk and spiritual network, amongst other things, but that is not something that he feels comfortable with Leon exploring until Leon is 18. I think as adults, sometimes we really have to do better at listening to our children, or not even our children, to youth before shutting them down. And I'm not saying, okay, just because they want this, yes, give it to them. But I am saying that sometimes there can be a happy medium. Mary looks bothered by what Cody is saying to Leon. Cody says that, I believe you should stay in the house until graduation or marriage. We already know that this has changed. This is evident by what we now see in the current seasons. Season 17, I believe it was, where Cody basically told Janelle to kick out her sons and said that they were of age, that they could get out. So back in the day, you were okay with your children staying until they got married or graduated. And then when it was no longer convenient for you, you change it to you can get out. Just something I noticed. Cody says, I feel like you have to come with me. That God has given him a job to take his children and to make sure he takes care of them. And that's what he tends on doing. We see Robin at her house on a Saturday night and she's packing. As I noticed Robin's house, I couldn't help but think that these fools have known for several weeks at this point that they're going to be leaving. And they wait until they tell the little kids, which with 3 days remaining until they leave, to pack. Robin mentions that while packing, she's getting angry even at God, saying, why are you letting this happen to us? I said this about things that have happened in my life before, where I've questioned God, where I've asked, the universe, what is going on? Like, why now? Whatever. But in this instance, you guys are choosing to make this move. This isn't something that God told y'all to do. Robin says she believes in miracles, saying that he can fix it. While they're getting boxes and stuff, Robin's children are telling her that they're going to miss their home. We see Cody come over with the suitcase. As he's packing in the suitcase, he hears the kids arguing, And as he's packing the suitcase, I can't help but notice all the stuff on the bathroom counter at Robin's. Do you guys have a lot of stuff on your bathroom counters? I can't stand it, but but that's just me. Okay. Back to our regularly scheduled program. Robin talks about how she's barely even unpacked the boxes that she's had since she moved there. And then she's saying that this is her fourth move in 2 years. I do not feel sorry for Robin at all. I feel sorry for her children. At this point, if you have moved 4 times in 2 years, I would think that you should be a professional packer. And I'm looking at your house, and I understand you didn't want to tell the kids about the move, but you've already should have put in things in place. You could have been packing boxes while the kids were asleep and hiding them. We know that you don't work, so why weren't you packing while the kids were gone and putting things into the garage? She's very emotional in the confessional on the couch with her sister wives and her husband, and she's saying how she was just I was just getting used to being here. I just finished unpacking like a couple months ago. And now here I am. And I'm having to pack again. Oh, y'all almost got it. Do you see it? It's a little bit of water there. I could not help it. I do not know. I shouldn't have did that. I do not know anymore what to believe when it comes to Robin. Is this genuine, or are we getting the theatrics? I will say that in that moment, I was not moved by the few droplets that she managed to drop while sitting there crying, because you're crying about packing and boxes. You aren't crying about the effect that it has on the children. If you were, they cut it out of that scene. But you're crying about packing. Cody says it's a heavier mood than he imagined it would be. Sorry, them tears, even though they're mine, I don't want them on my head. He said that he's hearing Dayton and Aurora fight. They're not fighting because of the heavier mood. They're just fighting because they're being siblings. We see the other wives packing with their kids. Hunter, out of the children, and Leon seem to be struggling the most. We find out that they moved to the house when Leon was 10. I believe at this point, Leon is 16. So they were living there for 6 years. I actually thought it was longer than that, but they were living there for 6 years. We get a replay of the kids saying what will happen to Cody if they don't move. I never realized how much TLC uses the same confessional over and over again, and the same exact statement that the kids said over and over again. At this point, I believe this is the 3rd time that I heard Maddie and Logan say the piece about their father and what would happen, and imagine how he feels, to the point where it's verbatim. We then get another piece where Maddie brings up, if you have mistresses, it's like, hey, good job, pats on the back, high five, whatever, good for you. But if a guy wants to be married and take care of his children and his wives, it's against the law. I get what you're trying to say. The law is the law, and until they change the rules, that's just, what it is. And it can change, and I don't know if it's changed in some places, but I know there are places that are more accepting of it, like where y'all moved to, we're in Vegas. As Mary is packing, she finds 26 obituaries of her sister that passed 5 years ago from cancer with her mom. Her mom is there to help pack, and They're laughing about it, and Janelle brings up that, maybe this was Teresa's way of saying, I'm here. She's crying. She's very emotional. Mary says that if she was here right now, she would be helping me pack until this was completed. We then find out, because Cody's on the phone with Mona, that she found a big house for them to rent for a month. Cody says that, okay, that's great. I guess the biggest thing is to find out whether or not the wives would be okay. With sharing a kitchen. Robin doesn't really know what that's going to be like, but the other wives say they're okay. Okay, even though it was a couple of days, Cody. If you guys remember, Robin knows a little bit of what sharing a kitchen is going to be like, because supposedly you all made family meals together, and we've seen you all go away for the holidays, and the wives cooked in the kitchen. So they have a little bit of experience with the kitchen, and I'm sure they can come to some mutual understanding. It's a month. We find out that Dayton's birthday is the following day. Cody gives Dayton a $20 bill, says, I'll give you $20 if you give me a hug. We hear again about Leon's struggles with not having church. As they are filming, we find out that this is not a good day for Leon. Like, Leon didn't even want their mom to touch them, hug them, be all over them, anything. Leon is getting very annoyed with it and is basically determined not to pack their room because they want to stay. Mary is like, look, I understand, but, Dad made his decision and you got to go. While packing, a sheriff drives by. Cody notices the sheriff and gets a little freaked out. We then hear about the kids being freaked out. Madison and Aspen and someone else were walking to the gas station, and the sheriff's been driving by, and they call Christine, and she could hear them in the background getting flustered about the sheriff. And Christine says right then and there, this is exactly why we are moving. Have you all ever noticed that when you're in trouble or when you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, that's when you kind of notice more of a police presence? Okay, let me give you an example. So right now, my right headlight in my vehicle is out. I noticed this the other day. I have the light. I bought the light. My boyfriend just needs to put it in, right? See cops all the time, not paying attention to the cops. But when I was driving last night, coming home from church, I knew that my headlight was out. So I noticed all the cops. So I say that to say, I feel like part of this is just them being overly paranoid because they're in a lot of fear right now. We then find out, we hear them talking about the trailer and packing and whatever else. And this is when we realize that this fool, Cody Brown, has got one trailer for 4 wives and their things. One trailer would not work for my son and my things. They talk about the importance of just packing the essentials for this first trip because, as I said before, they didn't plan this well. As they are talking about their things and trying to fit and how they're going to fit, Cody says he's going to go talk to Janelle about this. He's not talking to Janelle because he really wants her opinion. He's talking to Janelle because he wants her money. That was my thoughts. He says that we're going to need to get another rental. We're going to rent a truck. And Janelle does not want to get an actual rental truck because she does not want to draw attention to him. Remember, we're supposed to be in fear. Cody can get arrested at any time. The kids can be taken at any time. She then points out how their relationship is struggling right now because she is still very opinionated about them needing to move now, and he's a little bit more nonchalant about things. I don't understand how that equates to struggling in your marriage. So is the problem that you have an opinion, Is the problem that she needs Cody to move with urgency? Like, how does your stance on whether you guys should leave now or later affect your relationship? She said the fear is getting to her and she's worried about, her children. She said take the beds and take the clothes and take the dishes. The rest of the stuff can stay. I don't understand why I'm having such a hard time understanding why this was so scary for them. But I think that their feelings were heightened because of some of the things that they saw done to other polygamists. But I just didn't feel like things were as serious as we were made to believe. Okay, now, take in mind that Cody and Janelle just had this disagreement about getting their trucks, which he gets anyway. Remember, each one of these marriages are supposed to be separate. But Cody is mad. So what does Cody do? Cody goes downstairs to Christine's and decides to tell Christine everything was going great until your sister wife says, no, we can't do that. So it looks to me like Cody also used to go around talking to his wives about other wives when they said something he didn't agree with. He walked out like that child that slams the door and gets in trouble behind it, but slams the door behind him to go and complain to Christine, who is not the breadwinner, who is not in charge of handling the money, about what Janelle said. He then says, this is the type of stuff Cody does, y'all. He then says the sheriff is double tapping on his brakes, not because the dogs are in the streets, but because they're after us, according to Janelle. That's his thing. I'm sorry. Isn't the same person who was mentioning the sheriff going past earlier while at Robbins, wasn't that person Cody? Wasn't Cody the one who said that the sheriff was going up and down the street and it's causing him to be in fear? So now that it's not convenient for the narrative that Cody is trying to say, he is going to say that Janelle is paranoid, even though he was just paranoid a couple hours ago when we saw him at Robbins packing his red suitcase full of the little bit of stuff that he has over there, because in his words, he's only been over there in that house a short time. They're in the kitchen talking, both Christine and Janelle, and at this point, Mary, say that we should just go tomorrow. Cody's response is, Robin doesn't want to go tomorrow. So, Robin's desire trumps everyone else's? That's 3 wives who were ready to go, but the one wasn't ready. Mary then says exactly what I was thinking. Why? Because you and Robin decided it while you were over there? She says, sorry, I'm just asking. That's exactly why. Cody is using the excuse that the property that they're renting for the month won't be ready until Tuesday morning. Vegas is 6 hours away. Before even knowing what happens at the end of this episode, I said, we know this family does not make trips in a short amount of time. It's probably going to take them 24 hours to get to Vegas anyway with all the kids, so they might as well leave when they originally planned on leaving. I said up there that it was going to take 24 hours. And we find out later on in the episode that it took over 24 hours for them to get there. Janelle said, whether it's rational or it's out of fear, she's ready to go. They see another cop car and another sheriff car, and Cody is mad at the reaction. Cody is mad at the reaction of his children and his wives when Cody has had his wives and his children on edge since he went public. So why are you upset with them for reacting to the panic that you have now set in with them over these police and over the investigation that is happening, even though you all have never been questioned? Janelle says, I'm really concerned about the sheriff and the police because they keep driving by. And he says, well, Janelle, they can stop us for another 300 miles even after we leave. I'm not hiding. So you aren't hiding, but he is running. It's only something that needs to be frantic and something of importance when Cody deems it that way. Because everything that Janelle's saying now, even though Cody said it at different times, Janelle's thoughts don't matter in this moment. Leon finally starts packing and says that they finally realize that we're moving and I have to accept it. Leon says, I'm going to stay there for the next 2 years until I graduate. And if I remember correctly, that's exactly what Leon did. Leon left and didn't look back. Might have stayed for a summer or a couple weeks here and there, but once Leon was out, they were out. We then see them have a birthday party for Dayton. As they're having the birthday party, they talk about how the press, and Christine mentions TMZ, found out that they're leaving. And they're going to release the story in 24 hours. So they want to get out of there. As a result, they're not going to be cleaning up the way that they intended on cleaning up. And they're going to get their friends and family to do it. Now, here's the thing. I don't know how much cleaning they planned on doing. With the amount of things that they left there, you couldn't have cleaned up. You didn't have enough space to put anything else in there. So what were you going to do? Move everything to one room and then clean up? Robin is supposed to completely clean out her house because they are renting that house. She said she's very scared because of all the emotions and the fear that she's having, that this isn't the America that she read about. I want to know what America that Robin read about. Don't get me started on America that I've read about. It's not all glitz and glam, Robin. Here's the thing. I'm not down talking America. Please understand I'm not. My family immigrated to America. My family most of them are originally from Jamaica. So I'm not knocking any of this at all, but I very much so remember the things that I read growing up about different parts of America. So what did Robin read? Did Robin go to one of those polygamous schools that she had to get her GED at, which we know she didn't. But my point is, what were you reading? I don't know what Robin was reading. In every country, there are some issues. And you having to leave because you decided to go public about being a polygamist, to me, is not the end of the world. It's benefited them very much so in the long run. Cody parks the truck and the trailer with the keys, blocking things, and he leaves with the keys in his pocket. They call him to try to get him to come back with the keys. Janelle says something that we've all thought, which is it's brain damage to move with this group. Put the crap in the car and let's go. I'm Janelle. Janelle is always ready to go. Even when they get ready to go on a trip somewhere, Janelle gets frustrated with the amount of time that it takes for them to load up and all those things. I'm Janelle. If things are as bad as they are and y'all got sirens in the background and all this other stuff, why are y'all lingering around? Let's go. We hear those famous police sirens that I was just talking about. We know that it had nothing to do with them at all. It was just the police and the ambulance, fire department, whoever answering a call. And of course, because they have managed to get these children so paranoid by the sheriff, the kids are supposedly scared. They pray before they get on the road. Christine says, how long are we going to be driving? Cody says, we're driving until we can't drive anymore. They show the different houses. They look a hot mess. Robin's house is supposed to be completely cleaned out, but she left some of them dead roses and flowers from her bouquet hanging, and a plant and some other things on the counter. So I think it's safe to say that Robin's going to be coming back to her home as well, and some cleaning things. Whew. They talked about how, Christine said how she never realized how when they had their children, they were hoping that things would change and that their polygamists would be more accepted. Now they're seeing that they're not being teased as much and things of that nature, but that the laws need to change and some people still aren't willing to accept them. I feel that we all have things that people aren't willing to accept us about. Look at the LGBTQ plus. If I missed anything, I'm so sorry. But look at those communities and how they aren't accepted in certain spaces. Look at how certain ethnicities are not accepted in certain spaces. Religions, like we can go on and on about areas where people aren't accepted. I don't want to say it like this, but we all have our grievances, and even though this seems like a lot for them to bear, they aren't the only ones who are experiencing things that they have to bear. They aren't even 11 miles down the road, and Cody's tire is shredded. It's Martin Luther King Day, and so a lot of places are closed, but he goes to a tire center. It looks like Walmart to me, and they don't have his tire, but he gets 2 bigger tires than what his car is supposed to have, but his car will be okay with it. And in order to do this, it took 2 hours. They pull off again. They haven't even gone down a mile down the road, and another car gets a flat tire, which goes back to what I said before when they had car problems, that the proper checks are not done on their vehicles before they leave. He gets angry. He said he turns into a sailor. He calls everyone and tells them to wait. I would have just let them go a little bit further down the road, but I get it. You're a convoy. You're all driving together. His dumb tail, because Christine's tire goes on that van, his dumb tail decides to take the full-size tire from Janelle's car that is in her vehicle for her vehicle and put it on the car that Christine is driving, even though that is not the right tire for the vehicle. You can't make this crap up. She drives for a little bit and immediately feels that it's not pulling right. It's causing her steering to be off. She pullovers. He realizes, okay, I need to put the spare back up there. We'll have to drive slower, but I can put the spare back up there. He goes to take off the tire and he breaks not 1, but 2 lug nuts and realizes that he'll probably break the rest of them. What did you think was going to happen? It's not the right tire. And you probably put them things on super. Ain't no telling what he did. Okay. They've been gone on the road for 4 hours and they've driven a whopping 20 miles. This is what happens when you don't plan for trips and you have people like Cody leading the pack. They decide to go to the next exit and get a room. And then in the morning, they'll go to a tire place, which happens to be right up the road. It's the next day. They get stuff fixed. They drive the 200 miles. They pull over because another tire has blown on the trailer this time. State trooper pulls behind them. They get worried, but he just wants to make sure everybody's okay and tell them to move the kids off of the road, which goes back to me saying, how well known were you people that y'all were so scared when that sheriff could have easily, or straight state trooper pulled you over for being a polygamist, because that's what y'all are saying they're going to do. They get things fixed. We find out, as was said earlier, that it took them over 24 hours to get to this point. Christine says that she ended up having a breakdown because she was in the vehicle with the kids, who were saying how hungry and tired they were. They're almost 60 miles away from Vegas, and Cody said he doesn't care about their stomachs. He wants to be in Vegas. He wants to reach his Plymouth Rock, as he called it. They made it to Vegas. It's going to be a safe space for them where they can have religious freedom. We see them sign papers for their rental agreement. He said a long time ago he looked up to the heavens and he asked God, do you have my back? And when he turned 43 on his 43rd birthday, God said, yeah, I do. Some of the teenagers look very like doughy-eyed and sad, and when asked, I don't know if it was by a producer or someone, what's wrong, Maddie says, I hate it here. I just want to go home. We know that eventually they learn to like it, but it is an adjustment nonetheless. And the family gets to stay in this house for 1 month, living out of boxes and whatever else they bring. You guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. This ran a little long. Sorry, I had a lot of notes and I wanted to make sure that I got everything in there. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me down below, what are your opinions? Do we think that this move made sense? I know it made sense later on, but do we think that the way that they went about doing it was necessary? That's the question I want to ask. Do you guys think that they needed to rush and leave as quickly as they did? Yes or no? Let me know down below. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.